Geraldo's hit the endgame now. It's time to talk about the best skills for your builds, whether that be in New Game Plus or Toussaint, the Blood and Wine DLC, or anything in between. We're going to go through some skills here that are a little lesser known but highly powerful in each of the categories. So let's go. This is a direct continuation of the early game skills video that I did, so go watch that if you haven't already. I'm looking for some more beginner-friendly stuff that is covered into that video, but we're going to go through some lesser known but highly powerful skills here for each of the categories, not to build a specific build out of everything we're talking about here, but it's more to break down some different ideas and get you thinking about the skill trees and different builds in a different way is what my goal is here. So first thing I'll tell you is that the Potion of Clearance is super important for the end game and making builds in general. This potion will allow you to reset all of your skill points so you can try different builds and min-max skills a different way. So if you wasted some skills in the early stages of the game and you don't need those abilities anymore, you can use this to reset, get all your skill points back, and then make your own builds. It's worth noting that these can be found at most of the herbalist vendors in the game. There's a couple of others as well, but they're pretty easy to find. You've just got to actually go and hunt them out. They're not too hard to find, but they are a little bit expensive. So let's get into the best combat tree skills first. And firstly, we're going to talk about Deadly Precision. So Deadly Precision, for each adrenaline point, it adds a percentage chance of killing an opponent instantly. This effect cannot be triggered once every 15 seconds. This doesn't sound like much, especially it is such a low percentage chance, but when you're hitting an enemy very regularly, at a fast rate, that couple of percent that it gives you is actually not bad. And when this does trigger, you definitely notice it, because for me, I've had it happen a couple of times when I've been using a Deadly Precision build where it just instantly kills a target. And I'm like, oh, well, that was easy. That worked out great. It's a well worth using skill that I find that I didn't really tinker with before because I didn't think about the percentage chance being worthwhile, but in a combat solely focused build, it is actually definitely worthwhile. And next we have Rend. Now, Rend is an interesting skill that I did discuss in my last video, but personally, I don't like heavy attacks, but I was sleeping on Rend a little bit, I'll be completely honest. So Rend deals additional damage to the proportion of stamina that you consume, but it ignores all enemy defense and gives you basically a guaranteed critical hit and a huge amount of damage based on your adrenaline points. If you've got max adrenaline points, it'll increase your overall damage of Rend. The benefits here though is that you can buff this with the rune that allows you to increase the range of Rend. So in some encounters you can essentially Rend and then zip to the target and just instantly kill them and do a huge amount of damage with this ability. It's probably one of the highest damage ability when you consume all of your stamina in that hit. So it's well worth doing, especially in some sort of a slow paced heavy attack build that is very uncommon, I think, in The Witcher 3. Most people, including myself, are more focused on the fast attack builds or using whirl, that sort of thing. Rend gets slept on a lot, but it is a very worthwhile skill. Next, we will talk about the Flood of Anger. This is another skill that I personally slept on and hadn't really used until the next gen update. So when casting a sign, if you have 3 adrenaline points available, you will consume all those adrenaline points and cast the sign at its highest level, unlocking all of the bonuses and increase sign intensity by 300%. So essentially what this means is, say if you have all of your adrenaline points, you could cast any sign, including their alternate sign cast, say for example with Yrden, like the magic trap on the ground, like the little turrety thing, plus it gets the sign intensity bonuses from this as well. This is a massive bonus when it comes to a combat build and trying to incorporate some sort of sign usage into it. You can really do this by investing completely into the combat line, but then also get huge amount of value just from having this and buffing your adrenaline point gain so that you can use this very regularly. It's a really good complement to a combat focused build to give you a lot more flexibility in terms of your sign usage and allowing you to do different things other than swing that big sword around. Moving on to the sign tree. Firstly, let's talk about Yrden. Don't sleep on Yrden. I myself am one that definitely slept on Yrden until the next gen update. I was like, I don't really care about enemies, if they're slowed, why does that matter to me? However, the Forgotten Wolf set and also tinkering more with the Griffin set definitely taught me that Yrden is actually very powerful, especially Magic Trap. So when you place Magic Trap on the ground, it damages and slows enemies within a X amount of radius, and it destroys all projectiles that pass through this area. So you can put this down and avoid getting hit with arrows, which is actually really huge because arrows are hugely frustrating in the game. Now when you buff Yrden even further, in the last line you go supercharged glyphs, so when enemies are affected by Yrden, they actually lose vitality per second. So you could do something with say bleed here as well, so they lose vitality with the Yrden trap and then something lose with bleed, or even say Igni, for example. If you're looking at a sign build, you then got the burning tick, so you've got the Yrden tick, the burning tick, the bleeding tick, so you can really just use all these damage over time effects and eliminate enemies. But it also combines really well with the Forgotten Wolf set, which I've seen a lot of people talk about, and I myself have actually made one of these piercing cold builds with Ard and the Forgotten Wolf set, and Ard is really the other one. With the Forgotten Wolf set and some of the changes and rebalancing with the next gen updates, Ard is actually much more powerful than it originally was before the next gen updates. So you've obviously had piercing cold, which is the mutation that benefits from using Ard. It will freeze most of the enemies that you do hit, but if it doesn't freeze the enemy, it'll just do additional damage, which is a great mutation to have with piercing cold. But Ard itself, in terms of like adding shockwave, just gives you a flat damage increase to Ard, as well as Ard sweep, allowing you to do it in a circle radius around you. Just generally huge amounts of damage when you combine that with piercing cold, plus then with the Forgotten Wolf set, which then gives buffs to your Ard damage for enemies that are affected by Yrden. So you combine these two things into making a unique take on a Sign build. It doesn't involve the Griffin set, because most Sign builds have to involve the Griffin set because of the bonuses you get from that. So the Forgotten Wolf set giving you some alternatives and playing with Ard in a much more different way, I've kind of enjoyed doing and tinkering with. I actually have put like this entire build together, so if you guys want me to do like a full piercing cold video, let me know in the comments down below. Moving on to Alchemy, everyone's favorite Euphoria tree. Not a huge amount of interesting things happening in this line. One thing I will call out is Fixative, which was changed in the next gen update, so that not only do blade oils not wear off, you can now equip 3 at a time. So this will allow you to have multiple, say, oils on the one blade. This is more of a quality of life thing personally, and I think it's well worth putting in builds if you're in New Game Plus to just have the available ability points, so you don't have to apply oils very often, because you can just put the main ones, like say, you know, necrophage, that sort of stuff. Just have the main ones on your weapon all of the time. Never really have to worry about it. That having 3 equipped at a time was originally on the Wolven armor, and it's been moved now to this skill. Synergy, we've discussed in all of my videos, but worth calling out that you should put that in any build that it can actually fit into to increase your mutagen bonuses by 50%. And next is a bit of a two-parter that I think gets not included a lot in different builds, but worth calling out. So we've got a combination of Killing Spree and Hunter's Instinct. So Killing Spree, if your toxicity is above 0, each opponent killed increases critical hit chance by 30%, and Hunter's Instinct, so when adrenaline points are at maximum, crit hit damage against the target is increased by X amount. So this will essentially give you a 100% chance to critical hit, or as close to that as possible if you are above toxicity and you're buffing your critical hit chance in other ways. Plus then Hunter's Instinct, when your adrenaline points are at maximum, that damage percentage increase is actually huge and well worth investing into. So you can make a crit hit build out of these two skills, and even combining that with Euphoria or something, which I know people like to do. The next is a two-parter, and it goes into the general section as well. So we're going to talk about this together, and it's just generally about bombs and how they have changed with the next gen update. So the skill in the Alchemy tree, Cluster Bombs. Upon detonation, bombs separate into explosive fragments, with X amount of fragments being what it explodes into. And this just makes like a single bomb, multiple bombs, and it does more bomb effects. But in the general line, which we'll zip over to here, you've got the different bomb skills like Heavy Artillery, which has been significantly buffed. So bomb damage is now tripled, but the number of bombs in each slot is decreased by half. Originally, before the next gen update, bomb damage was only doubled. So this has actually tripled it and given you an extra 100% amount of damage. And just because of the way that bombs work and some of the rebalancing, they're significantly more powerful. Combine this with something like In Combat's Fire, so you ignore bomb effects and special bolt effects. You can just stand in the middle of your bombs and just throw them down on the ground and just wreak absolute havoc. So you can make a bomb focused build very easily with the next gen update. Worth tinkering with just as a bit of a meme, and I do have a video covering this exactly. So if you want to make a bomb focused build, then there will be a card here. But that is some general skills in each of the different skill trees to tinker with and to try some unique things, and talk about some slept on skills that are actually still valuable to use. So let me know in the comments your favorite skills, as well if you'd like me to do a video on the mutations. I've been thinking about potentially breaking down all the mutations, maybe ranking them or something. Let me know if you'd like that down below. Thanks for watching this video till the end. Thank you to our members for supporting the channel. My name is Norza, and I hope you have a great day.